Are you planning a trip to Death Valley? Let me take you through an amazing weekend route from Death Valley to Alabama Hills, packed with adventure and must see spots. So our trip in Death Valley started Friday night. We live in Los Angeles and we drove up all the way into Stovepipe Wells Campground. This campground is basically a huge parking lot. The more interesting spots are on the edge where you can find yourself a plot of dirt. And there are tables up here if you're able to get one. We got there pretty late, so we couldn't really scope out the area. So we ended up in the middle in the paved areas, but it's large enough to have your car and set up a tent if you wish. Lots of RVs here. There is a fee to park here. So yeah, so we decided to come here Friday night and sleep here because we had an early start for Saturday for it to explore Death Valley. What's nice about this area, there's a gas station across the way, there's a general store. So yeah, there are some resources for you before you head out into Death Valley. There's also this ranger station. I believe this is where you can get your Death Valley National Park pass. So you can purchase it here. You can purchase that pass in several places throughout the park. So this is not the only place to go ahead and get it. So after camping here Friday night, we woke up nice and early and my family decided to come over here to the Mesquite Flat sand dunes while people woke up and collected themselves. So the rest of the group would meet us here when they were ready. So we came here early to enjoy the sunrise, to do a little bit of hiking, to enjoy the landscape. This is such a beautiful place. I highly recommend it. But be careful. There have been stories of people getting lost and dehydrated. You can go really far into the dunes, as you can see. But yeah, this is a very beautiful place. But if you are into photography, this is a place you must check out. And the farther you go into it, the less people you see, the less footprints you see. I highly recommend Mesquite Flat Dunes. So my friends, we all caught up with each other and we met here and we decided to go ahead on the 190 to our next destination. We traveled east on the 190. There is a point of interest here called Devil's Cornfield. I don't recall ever stopping here, but it is a point of interest. If you have time, go ahead and check it out. But we kept going on the 190 and then we made a left on Scotty's Castle Road. Scotty's Castle Road can also lead to the western exit of Titus Canyon. So if you go up Scotty's Castle Road, make a right on Titus Canyon Road, it can lead to this parking area, which can get you to Fall Canyon Trailhead and you can go on a hike. Um, Titus Canyon is one way, so you would enter from the Nevada side and drive towards this western exit. I have a video for Titus Canyon if you want to check it out. I'll put a link for you. So we're still heading north on Scotty's Castle Road. There's a campground up here I've always wanted to check out, but every time I'm curious about it, it's closed. So off of Scotty's Castle Road is also Mesquite Spring Campground. So maybe if you're lucky, if you want to check it out, it'll be open for you. But it's always been closed for me. There's a Grapevine Ranger Station here. You can buy your Death Valley National Park pass here. And I think there's also a restroom here. I'm not sure, but I believe there is. So you can go ahead and buy your pass here if you haven't already. So here on Scotty's Castle Road, we make a left to Ubehebe Crater Road. I'm probably mangling that name. Ubehebe Crater Road. Yeah, we made a left and continued on to look for the crater itself. And here it is. I highly recommend this location as well. It's so beautiful. Limited parking though. It's pretty popular, so don't be surprised if all the parking spaces are taken. But we made a stop here and some of us decided to hike all the way down to the crater. My son did. Keep in mind that if you don't have walkie talkies, they will not be able to hear you if you yell out for them to say it's time to go. So let them know that they need to come back at a certain time because once they're down there, they will not hear you. Also, once they're down there, they're gonna get tired coming back up. I definitely personally did not go down there. I am not the most fit person, and I decided not to go down there. We did hike this rim over here for a bit to get some altitude. There are other craters here. There's this little heavy crater. So, and it almost looks like you could hike all around it. I'm not sure. I wonder if you could take a mountain bike up here, but the landscape changes so much. It's like you're in a lava field, a prehistoric lava field, and the rocks look pretty darn sharp, if I recall. Beautiful place. I highly recommend it. It's definitely worth checking out. So after the crater, we headed down Racetrack Valley Road. Racetrack Valley Road is a very washboard road. I recall stopping so we can air down a lot because your passengers will be uncomfortable, your car will be shaking its bolts off. So I highly recommend that you definitely air down Racetrack Valley Road. I've followed people into roads like this and they never air down. I'm just shocked at the fact that they don't air down. I'm sure some of you don't. I know it can be inconvenient or they don't have the right tools to air back up. But yeah, for this one, this is a long drive. Don't be fooled. Remember, the points of interest are quite can be quite far apart, and you're not driving at 60 miles an hour. You're driving at a much slower speed to handle this off-road path. So we're driving south on this road, and the next point of interest is a small one but very popular one. This is Teakettle Junction. You will see tea kettles hanging on this sign. If you want to continue the tradition, don't forget to bring your tea kettle if you want to hang it. So yeah, so this is a good place to stop after all that crazy washboard road driving and maybe take a picture or two and continue on. So we're here on Racetrack Valley Road and we make it all the way to Racetrack Playa. Racetrack Playa is a dry lake bed and home of the moving rocks, aka sailing rocks. There are two parking areas, if I recall. There's this one here next to the grandstand, but we decided to go to the very tip and park around here. So by the time we got here, it was a good time to stop for lunch. So we parked here, stopped for lunch, and after lunch, we did a little bit of hiking. Look for those sailing rocks. They're very fascinating. You see these rocks, some of them are the size of a shoebox, and you see a trail behind them. There's already some scientific explanation of why that happens. Go ahead and look it up, it's very interesting. Please do not touch the rocks. Please do not drive on the playa. Let's keep this place beautiful and natural as much as possible. Keep it better than you found it and tread lightly. We kept going south on Racetrack Valley Road. So there is a camping site here, the Home Stake Dry Camp. I believe there is a vaulted toilet here, which was pretty gross, if I recall. But if you are ready for dispersed camping, this might be an area for you because you could set up camp here and then go back to the Racetrack Playa to do some evening photography, some late night photography. Who knows, you might catch the Milky Way behind some of those rocks. So here is an option for you to camp. Again, there are no facilities here, so be prepared for dispersed camping. But for us, we did not stop here. We decided to go down Lippincott Road. I have a full video of this road available for you. You could check it out to see if you want to go ahead and do it. It's recommended to be 4x4 only, high clearance. Be very careful. It's a shelf road. Again, I have a video for you to check out if you want to see if you could do it. Anyone with a capable vehicle and experience off-roading should be able to handle it. The first time I was here, I did see a stranded minivan, no passengers. Only wonder what happened to them, but it was in the middle of the road. Fortunately, it was not blocking the caravan I was with. But yeah, be very careful. There's a big sign that says no service, no tow services will come rescue you. So yeah, Lippincott Road. We drove down. It's very fun, very exciting. But Lippincott Road ends here at Saline Valley Road. Now, if you make a right here at Saline Valley Road, there's tons more to do. I'll have to save that for another video. There's just more adventure north from here. I can't wait to go back up there. So if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe and hit the alert bell, and you'll see my other Death Valley videos coming up. But for us, we made a left turn because we were now exiting the Death Valley area. As we exit, we discovered more places to camp because we saw people off to the side camping, and I would love to go back to this area and camp here for myself. But for us, we decided to fully exit Death Valley and drive all the way down to the 190. We stopped here to air back up. But yeah, the valley was beautiful. And that was it for this section for Death Valley. So we basically spent an entire day here at Death Valley. But it's not over. The weekend is not over. We From here, we decided to camp at Alabama Hills. So the 190 turns into the 136 and then takes you near Lone Pine, and to the west of Lone Pine is Alabama Hills. It's such a beautiful place. A lot of history here. A lot of movies were filmed here. Unfortunately, half of the campsites have been turned to off limits to camping. So keep that in mind. Let's all be responsible campers so they do not close down any more of our public lands. But yeah, so we decided to camp in Lone Pine. We enjoyed an evening there. There's just so much to do here at Lone Pine. You could hike, see more amazing natural structures. Just the view alone of Mount Whitney's amazing. And the other cool thing is, if you don't want to deal with cooking, Lone Pine has all you need. There are restaurants here, there's fast food, there's gas stations. So if you don't want to bother with cooking dinner or dealing with breakfast, just go to Lone Pine, support small businesses, and eat there. For Sunday morning, we decided to add some exploring in Lone Pine. We drove around Lone Pine a tiny bit because there's so much to see. If you have time, you can do the hike to the Mobius Arch. It's not very far. Yeah, so there's a lot to see in Alabama Hills. We went north on the 395, and you can, if you have time, you could check out Manzanar National Historic Site. It's a Japanese internment camp during World War II. A lot of history here. What we ended up doing is we made a right here on Reward Road and looked for the Reward Mine. So you take Reward Road and you 4x4 yourselves into a tight canyon here in Reward Mine. I got lost. Personally, I led the group to the wrong offshoot and ended up in a very tight spot where we had to back up to get out. But we ended up here at Reward Mine. Reward Mine's very interesting. There's evidence that people have camped there. There's like a couple of campfire there. I'm not sure if you're allowed to. I think this is all BLM area. I mean, this section is BLM, so maybe you can camp there. If you could tell, this here is a ledge, and you get a beautiful view from here. So it's a very interesting place. It's just so amazing. The mine is huge. I don't know if I recommend it, but people do drive their vehicles in there because it's that big. We just decided to hike a little bit. We made it all the way to like this shaft with a ladder. That's how far we went. We were just curious. We didn't go too far in. So yeah, we ended up spending some time up here at Reward Mine. And if you look hard enough, you'll find a smaller mine shaft, but I'll leave that for you to discover yourself. After Reward Mine, we decided to drive back to Lone Pine for lunch. And from there, we were done with our trip. There are more videos on locations within Death Valley National Park. Thanks for watching.